Have you ever heard stories of the Virgin Mary appearing to people? These supernatural events are known as Marian Apparitions, and they've been reported for centuries. Often, Mary delivers messages, sometimes calling people back to faith, sometimes offering warnings, and even sharing prophecies. Now, for Catholics, belief in these apparitions isn't mandatory. They're considered private revelations, meaning they aren't part of the core teachings of the Church. However, several have been investigated and approved, and their influence has been massive, shaping history and inspiring millions. Today, we're going to dive into two of the most famous and impactful apparitions, Our Lady of Fátima and Our Lady of Lourdes. We'll explore their prophetic messages and see why they still resonate so powerfully in our world today. Let's travel back to 1917, to the small village of Fátima, Portugal. The world was engulfed in the Great War, later known as World War I. In this humble setting, 3 young shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos and her cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Marto, began experiencing something extraordinary. From May to October, on the 13th day of each month, a beautiful lady, more brilliant than the sun, appeared to them while they tended their sheep. She identified herself as the Lady of the Rosary. This was the beginning of the events we now know as the apparitions of Our Lady of Fátima. Her messages were urgent and deeply prophetic. They came to be known as the 3 secrets of Fátima. The first secret was a terrifying vision of hell, shown to the children to emphasize the reality of sin and the need for repentance to save souls from eternal damnation. It was a stark reminder of the spiritual consequences of our actions. The second secret contained remarkable prophecies. The lady foretold the imminent end of World War I, but she also issued a grave warning. If people did not stop offending God, a worse war would break out during the pontificate of Pope Pius XI. Of course, came to pass with the outbreak of World War II. The message also warned of the spread of the heirs of Russia. This was widely interpreted as the rise and global spread of atheistic communism, which would cause immense suffering, wars, and persecutions of the Church. To prevent this, she requested the consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart by the Pope in union with all the bishops of the world. She promised that this act would lead to Russia's conversion and a period of peace. The third secret was kept under wraps by the Vatican for decades, fueling immense speculation. It was finally revealed in the year 2000. It described a vision of a bishop dressed in white, interpreted as the Pope making his way through a ruined city filled with corpses as he prayed for the souls of the dead. As he reached a large cross at the top of a mountain, he and other clergy and laity were killed by soldiers. This vision has been widely connected to the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II, who believed that Mary's hand had deflected the bullet, saving his life. The vision serves as a powerful symbol of the Church's suffering and persecution throughout the 20th century. So, what is the contemporary relevance of Fátima? First and foremost, it's an urgent call to prayer and penance. The lady repeatedly asked the children to pray the Rosary every day for world peace and for the conversion of sinners. This message is timeless. In a world still torn by conflict and division, the call to turn to prayer as a real, effective tool for peace is more relevant than ever. Fátima also offers a spiritual lens through which to view global events. It suggests that major historical conflicts and social turmoil are not just political or economic, have a spiritual dimension. The message frames these struggles as part of a larger spiritual battle between good and evil, a rejection of God versus a return to faith. But amidst the dire warnings, Fátima is ultimately a message of profound hope. The Lady made a promise that has echoed through the decades. In the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. This powerful declaration offers believers a sense of ultimate victory and divine assurance. It suggests that no matter how dark things may seem, no matter the trials the world or the Church may face, God's plan will prevail. Hope, not despair, is the final word. The triumph of her heart signifies the triumph of love, grace, and faith over hatred and sin. Now, let's turn our attention to another monumental apparition which occurred several decades earlier. We go to Lourdes, France, in the year 1858. Here, in a rocky grotto called Massa, a 14-year-old girl named Bernadette experienced a series of 18 apparitions. Bernadette came from a very poor family. They were living in a single, damp room that was a former jail cell. She was uneducated and often in poor health. One day, while gathering firewood with her sister and a friend, she saw a beautiful young lady standing in a niche in the rock. The lady was dressed in white with a blue sash and held a rosary. Initially, Bernadette was the only one who could see her. Over the course of the apparitions, the lady asked for prayer and penance for the conversion of sinners. She asked Bernadette to go and drink at the spring and wash in it. At first, there was no spring, only a muddy patch of ground. Bernadette, in obedience, dug into the earth with her hands. Miraculously, a trickle of water began to flow. This small trickle grew, and it has been flowing ever since. During the 16th apparition, Bernadette asked the lady her name. The lady replied in the local dialect, "I am the Immaculate Conception." This was a profound statement. Just 4 years earlier, in 1854, Pope Pius IX had declared the dogma of the Immaculate Conception, the belief that Mary was conceived without original sin. For an uneducated girl like Bernadette, who had little to no theological training, to report this specific title was seen as powerful confirmation of the apparition's divine origin. She didn't even understand what the words meant when she reported them. While Fátima is known for its world-changing prophecies, Lourdes is famous for something else: healing. The spring that appeared at the grotto quickly gained a reputation for miraculous cures. People began flocking to Lourdes, bathing in or drinking the water, and reporting incredible physical healings. To this day, the Church has officially recognized over 70 miracles at Lourdes, with thousands more claims of unexplained healing and spiritual consolation. So what is the contemporary message of Lourdes? Above all, it's a beacon of healing and hope. Lourdes has become one of the world's most prominent pilgrimage sites, a global sanctuary for the sick, the disabled, and the suffering. It's a place where millions come, seeking not just physical cures, but also spiritual strength and peace in the midst of their trials. The message of Lourdes emphasizes God's deep compassion for those who suffer and affirms the spiritual value of uniting one's pain with the suffering of Christ. It reminds us that healing can be physical, but it is also profoundly spiritual, an inner peace that transcends physical ailments. Another powerful message from Lourdes is the importance of humility and simplicity. Why did Mary appear to a poor, uneducated girl in a forgotten grotto? The choice of Bernadette is deeply significant. It underscores a timeless spiritual truth that God often reveals His greatest wisdom and power through the humble, the small, and the overlooked. In a world that often values wealth, status, and intellectual pride, Lourdes is a constant reminder that faith does not require worldly credentials. God's grace is freely offered to the simple and pure of heart. Bernadette's story challenges us to look for the divine in unexpected places and to value humility as a path to holiness. When we compare Fátima and Lourdes, we see two sides of the same coin of divine mercy. Fátima looks outward, addressing the grand stage of world history with prophetic warnings and calls for global conversion. It tackles the massive spiritual battles playing out among nations. Lourdes, on the other hand, looks inward, focusing on the individual's journey of suffering, healing, and personal conversion. It speaks to the intimate, personal struggles and hopes of each soul. Both, however, share a common core. They both call for prayer, especially the Rosary and penance for the conversion of sinners. Both emphasize a return to God as the only true solution to the world's problems, whether they are global wars or personal illnesses. And both deliver a powerful message of hope anchored in the maternal care of Mary. Whether it is the promise of an ultimate triumph over evil at Fátima, or the tangible hope of healing at the spring of Lourdes, these apparitions continue to offer a spiritual roadmap for navigating our complex and often troubled world. They remind us that even in our darkest moments, we are not alone. They invite us to a life of deeper faith, prayer, and trust in a divine plan that is always unfolding. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the profound messages of Fátima and Lourdes. If you found this interesting, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into the fascinating intersection of faith and history. See you next time.